Hey, Chick-fil-A South Roads team, thanks for joining me on another leadership series. Today I want to talk to you about the idea of process improvement. If there's anybody who enjoys race cars or NASCAR or Formula One racing, you know that as these cars go around a racetrack, after a certain amount of time, they're going so far and so long that eventually they have to change out the tires and they do what is called a pit stop. Back in 1950s, a pit stop for a Formula One race car would sometimes be over a minute long, and so they would have to take off all the tires, and they would only have they only had a few people who would work on the car, and it seemed like a very long process. And when you talk about a race that's going fast, seconds mean everything. And today, now, when you look at the systems and processes they've created for pit stops, now a Formula One race car can get in and out from a pit in less than 2 seconds. So they're able to go from a 60-second pit stop to less than 2 seconds. Think about within Chick-fil-A, our processes that we've created around our drive-thru alone. When we first started our drive-thru, before we implemented all the things that we do today, sometimes we were lucky if we could get maybe 100 cars through our drive-thru during an hour. And now we're breaking close to 200 cars all the time through our drive-thru, serving our guests. And so there's this idea of process improvement, and how do we address process improvement. And I want to introduce to you one way that we can address it today, which is really this idea of lean process improvement. Lean, lean process improvement. And what is lean? Really, this is a concept that is used a lot in manufacturing and within the manufacturing industry, but it is really the idea at the end of the day of delivering customer value through the elimination of waste. And waste is really anything that doesn't add direct value to our guests or our internal customers. It's at the end of the day, it's creating a culture of continuous improvement, a mindset, and it's having a toolbox for seeing and thinking differently. So when we talk about this idea of eliminating waste, what I want to do is I want to introduce you to different forms of waste we can have within our business, and maybe giving us some tools that we can begin to use to identify this waste. Now, lean is a long journey, and so today it's really just to give you an introduction into this journey so that you can begin to start thinking through and using the tools necessary to identify these forms of waste. And so an easy acronym to remember these wastes is this acronym of Tim Woody. And so we're going to talk about each form of these wastes. So the first form of waste is transportation waste. This is really any waste that comes from the movement of products. Within our business, it's the movement of anything that we have in our inventory. And so what we need to do a lot of times, it's creating a clear path within our business. It's labeling things, but it's making sure that we're not running to the store and we're not having to go purchase things that maybe aren't on the truck, or not having to go and walk back and forth and get products from different areas in the business. So it's always making sure that we have the right things in the right place a lot of times. So first off is transportation waste within our business, and how do we address that? Then we want to talk about the I is inventory waste. It's really the idea of having what you need when you need it, and where you need it, and in the correct quantity and condition. So it's making sure that we really are always managing the right inventory within our restaurant as well. One great way to kind of help us to think about inventory is a tool called 5S, and it's these things like sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. And so it's creating a system of how do we sort our inventory in the right areas and put it in the right order, make sure that all our labels are clear, that we can see what products go there, create a good standard, and create a process which we can continue to manage our inventory in a correct way. Another form of waste is the M is motion waste. And this is transportation waste. We talk about the movement of products. How do we eliminate all the movement that has to go with products? Motion waste talks about the movement of people. And so it is eliminating the movement of people that can be wasted in the environment. As a bagger, it could be where do they have to go to get different products within the business so they can bag efficiently. Or for the back of the house, maybe it's how do you eliminate as much waste as as you can when you think about the steps that they have to take to make a chicken sandwich, and making sure that all that is together. One way to think about this, a great exercise, is to think about 3 steps or 3 seconds. When you're in a position, can you get everything that you need within 3 steps or 3 seconds? If you cannot, then what are the things that maybe you can adjust or change that helps you to eliminate some of that motion that you would do as a team member? The W in the Woody part stands for waiting waste, and this is any idle time that is a non-value add to guests. So this could be it could be like guests waiting in the drive-thru. It could be a team member that's waiting on food that's not ready, maybe a sandwich that isn't prepared, or waffle fries. It could be a team member who's bagging but is waiting for an order to be placed so they can actually start making that food. And so this is any idle time that's wasted just waiting. And so how do you eliminate that? What are the things that you can do? Maybe it's other activities that somebody does while they're waiting to make sure that they're always using that time and not wasting that time. The O in the Woody stands for over or under production, and this is really making more or less than what's immediately required within our business. And so it could be underproduction, right? So if you aren't preparing enough food that's needed, then you can create things like waiting waste, right, where people have to wait on food. It can create a lot of motion waste of people frantically going around to get the food in order and not relying on the process. Same thing with overproduction. If you have overproduction, you provide too much food, then you could be throwing away a lot of food in our inventory and wasting food there. So making sure that we're making the right quantities in our business, right? Those are why we use things like the lean breading, chicken breading iPads, and the lean shoot iPads, because it helps us better understand what and how many quantities do we need to make when we're producing food in our business. The next O is overcomplication. That is another form of waste, and this is really ideas that when we make processes too complicated in our businesses and they have too many steps, that we waste a lot of time, energy, and effort doing a process because it's overcomplicated. One easy way to combat this is to do what we call a process map. It's to think about what are the necessary steps in a given process and not to overcomplicate it. So, if you need to go and change out the trash compactors, you might need a key to go do that. So rather than going to the office to get a key or having a leader, we have a key in a certain place that you can know every time you can go and get it. So let's not overcomplicate a very simple process like taking out the trash. Let's try to make it as simple as possible. The D stands for defects, and this is the idea at the end of the day that we have defects within our business, a lot around order accuracy. So if we make a product incorrectly for a guest, then it is almost a domino effect that goes down across our entire business. So these things can mean like when you make the order wrong, well, then you have to remake it. So you have inventory waste. There has motion waste because now people are having to remake those products. There's waiting waste because now the guest is having to wait for it. They could be waiting in our drive-thru that could be holding up the entire line. And so it creates this domino effect of waste down the process. And so one way to do that and address that is, if there's order accuracy issues, is to maybe use a fishbone diagram. And a fishbone diagram is just another name for a cause and effect diagram. And it really helps you understand what are the causes that are causing the effects that you don't want. So for example, if a sandwich is being made and the guest asks for no pickles, but there's pickles on the sandwiches, then we can ask ourselves, what are the causes and effect? Is it an equipment issue? So are our screens, maybe our monitors are saying they're saying not to or they're saying to put pickles on there when maybe it should be no pickles, and so maybe there's an issue with equipment, maybe there's an issue with the process, maybe we haven't trained people to put no pickles on the sandwich, or maybe there's a user error, maybe the team members have forgot to hit no pickles, or the person making the sandwich forgot to take off the pickles. It could even be like a management issue. Maybe the leadership team hasn't set the right expectations. Maybe there's often times where you can even the leadership team could be really focusing on the importance of pickles on a bun. Hey, we want to make sure every sandwich has those 2 pickles on the bun and that it's a perfect sandwich. Well, in the process of talking through that, maybe they accidentally overemphasized that and team members forgot that, to follow the instructions to take pickles off of a bun when necessary. So defects can cause a big impact of waste on our business. And the final is the why is your team members' unused ideas. And really this talks about the idea of sometimes we waste the potential of our team members' ideas. As a leader, many times this is one of the areas you can have a huge impact on, is that you come up with ideas, or we come up with ideas as a leader in our business, and we think that those are the best ideas, but sometimes we fail to just reach out to our team members who are the closest to the work to make sure that we're getting their ideas and seeing how we can implement their ideas into the business. Again, so when you think about this, the Tim Woody, it's transportation, inventory, motion, but then also waiting, over underproduction, over complication, defects, and your team members' unused ideas. So all of these are different forms of waste, and what Lean is trying to do is trying to eliminate these type of waste. And so again, I know I'm just giving you an introduction, but if you can begin to start thinking about the business through these lenses and through these filters, what I think you'll begin to find is that you will naturally have a tendency to begin to see and identify the waste and want to address the waste. And you're going to have the resources necessary to be able to go and start finding ways that you can address those wastes and really make our business more and more efficient so that we can better serve our guests and create a better working environment for our team members. So thank you for your continual investment in your growth. Thank you for taking the time to learn about lean processes, learning about Tim Woody, and we hope with these resources now you'll be able to go and address some of the waste within our business and create some process improvements that will help grow our business into the future.